you kind of laugh a little bit about the divine providence bit, but in times of an extraordinary crisis,
Right.
more times than not, someone who you never thought about before, never would, all of a sudden takes up the cause and steps into the breach and is the difference maker. The person, some people say, oh, and to not to be overly dramatic, but oh, he's our savior or she's our savior or whatever. But there's someone who steps up and says, I got this. Let
Right.
me be the person who steps into the breach. And George Washington was the guy who did that and will
Send me.
continue
Yep.
on. But starting at the Second Continental Congress in particular, he gets named chief commander of the Continental Army.
Right.
And he does what he can. Now, remember, we have a fractured 13 colonies that don't see things 100% together. This is a time of crisis, and he is asking for funds and reinforcements. The South is like, that's a Northern problem.
Right.
We're not sending stuff up. We're not paying. We'll see how this goes. So the Northern militias were the ones that were carrying the day in and around Boston. Washington goes up, helps direct the troops, helps to reconnoiter and tabs certain people to do certain things, like Henry Knox with artillery, who puts it on, who manages to think about, okay, they take this one hill, which had done, the British think couldn't be done. But when they woke up in the morning, all of a sudden they got 20 cannon looking out over the harbor or whatever it was. And they're like, oh, shoot, all our ships are in jeopardy. And that forces under Washington's command, forces the British to give up Boston, which was a huge deal.
Right. I mean, and the other thing is that throughout the whole Revolutionary War, as Rob said, there was funding issues. There were times when the soldiers weren't getting paid. They weren't getting rations. It was tough. I mean, this was truly like the original guerrilla warfare, if you want to look at it, that they were just doing what they could to survive. And there was a number of times where the troops were very dissatisfied, and that there was actually talks of just walking out and different conspiracies and going on like that. And it was only because Washington came in and that his men had such faith in him and he carried such weight and that he empathized with them and said, look, I understand. I understand. Basically, this sucks, but we have to remember why we are doing this. If we walk away from this now, this will never come again. We will never have this opportunity ever again. So I'm asking you, and he did. He made a personal appeal. I am asking you to stay with me with this and go forward. And there's writings that reading through it. There's, if anybody's interested, American Legion had a great thing on this, on his speeches and stuff like that. That it says all the research on it says that this is something where it's because of him again, this personal plea, that it kept the army together.
Right. And the wisdom of the delegates who voted for him at the Continental Congress, that wisdom played out, as Lou said, because everyone who came in contact with General Washington, whether they wanted to outwardly admit it or not, you see it from the contemporary writings at the time of different autobiographies from different generals and different people who were in the army or who were in the Congress or whatever. He held himself to a standard and expected everyone else to be at that same standard as well.
Right.
There was a standard of professionalism, of decorum, of righteousness. He was a man of faith. And all of these things, he led by example.